The air in the room thickened, each syllable of her confession a poisoned dart. I won't let you ruin my evening. I deserve to spend time with another man, and you can't stop me. I'll see this through to the end, and you'll just have to accept it. The audacity of it stole my breath, leaving behind a raw, burning fury. My immediate retort felt less like a considered statement and more like a primal defense. If you walk out that door, Jenna, you'll be picking up your things from the curb tomorrow morning. The line in the sand had been drawn in the most mundane of settings. Our bedroom, the familiar scent of her perfume hanging in the air. She stood before the mirror, calmly fastening a pair of earrings, as if it were any other Friday night. As if we were still the couple we used to be, with a quiet dinner and a movie ahead. But the illusion had shattered days ago, piece by agonizing piece. The carelessly left texts, the hushed phone calls under the guise of work, the subtle, almost imperceptible shift in her eyes when she'd say, "I love you." It had all added up to a devastating truth. Those words, once a comfort, now felt like a practiced lie, meant to keep me complacent. So, I'd asked her directly, the question hanging heavy in the air, "Where are you going tonight, Jenna?" She didn't even grant me the courtesy of a flinch. Just a slight turn, her focus solely on the reflection as she meticulously applied lipstick. "Out with him." The words finally escaped, and something inside me snapped. That got her attention. She finally looked at me, but there was no shock, no guilt, just a weary annoyance. "I won't let you ruin my evening," she repeated, her voice sharp, laced with an arrogance I'd never truly seen before. "I deserve to spend time with another man. You can't stop me. I'll see this through to the end, and you'll have to accept it." There was no wavering in her eyes, no hint of apology or shame. Just a woman who had made a deliberate choice and clearly underestimated my capacity to react. But she was wrong, so profoundly wrong. The scream that clawed at my throat stayed silent. The urge to hurl something across the room remained just an impulse. Instead, I stood up from the armchair, the leather creaking beneath me, and walked over to her. I looked her straight in the eye, trying to convey the depth of my resolve. "If you do this," I said, my voice low and steady despite the tremor in my hands, "you'll be picking up your things from the trash tomorrow morning." She blinked, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. Maybe she'd expected tears, a desperate plea, even a shouting match. But I was beyond all of that. The well of my emotions had run dry, leaving behind a cold, hard certainty. Her lips curled into a dismissive, almost pitying smile. Without another word, she turned and walked out the door, the click of her heels echoing in the hallway like a drumbeat signaling the start of a war she didn't realize she'd already lost. She was gone less than 30 minutes when the purging began. Not a frantic, rage-fueled rampage, but a calm, almost clinical dismantling of her presence in my life. Everything that carried her scent, her touch, the ghost of her betrayal, went into black garbage bags. Designer dresses, expensive shoes, framed photos with forced smiles, and staged vacation memories, all face down in the trash. It wasn't anger fueling me. It was a chilling clarity. This wasn't my wife anymore. This was just a woman who had coldly informed me she'd rather be with someone else and expected me to simply accept it. Step 1. Financial lockdown. Before she even reached dessert with him, her credit cards would be declined. I'd already transferred our joint savings to a new, protected account. A quick call to the bank, reporting her card as compromised. Then, the tedious task of logging into every streaming service, every online shopping account, every subscription, and changing the passwords. She wouldn't know it yet, but when she reached for that shiny platinum card to pay for their drinks, reality would deliver a sharp, stinging blow. Step 2. Erased. The last bag hit the bottom of the dumpster in the alley just before midnight. I took her house key off my ring, the metal feeling cold against my palm, and slid the deadbolt into place. Double locked. The house felt strangely clean, empty in a way that was both unsettling and liberating. I sank onto the couch, the familiar cushions offering little comfort, cracked open a beer, and waited. The buzzer rang at 1:17 a.m. Then again and again, a frantic, insistent buzzing that echoed through the silent apartment. I didn't move, just listened for the inevitable voice. "Open the door." Jenna's voice, strained with confusion and a hint of panic. I finally got up, my legs feeling heavy, and walked slowly to the intercom. I pressed the button. Who is this? What? It's me. Stop being ridiculous. I hit the speaker again, my voice flat. You made your choice, remember? You were going to see it through to the end. Silence. Then, a desperate plea. My purse is inside. My clothes. They're in the trash, Jenna. I said, the words devoid of emotion. I told you that part already. I didn't shout, didn't raise my voice, but I heard it, the dawning of panic in her tone, the chilling realization that this wasn't a bluff. She pounded on the door for a while, the sound muffled through the thick wood, then silence. That was the last time she ever stood outside our home. By sunrise, she didn't live here anymore. The fallout the next morning wasn't driven by stress or sleeplessness, but by a grim determination. Revenge, I realized, wasn't about a surge of rage. It was about control, timing, exposure. And now that she had no home, no access to our finances, and no idea how deeply I was prepared to cut, it was time to set the rest in motion. Step 3. The truth goes public. We had a shared history, a network of friends who had celebrated our marriage, people she'd smiled at while harboring this secret. I sent a single message to our mutual friend group chat. Hey everyone, I thought you deserved to see who Jenna really is. Attached was a screenshot of her text to him, sent just hours before our final conversation. He's clueless, as always. I'll spend the night with you and come home like nothing happened. I need more of you, the way you treat me, like I'm actually wanted. I didn't add any commentary. Her own words were the most damning indictment. Within 10 minutes, 3 private messages flooded in. 2 apologies for believing her lies, and 1 from her closest friend asking, is there more I should know? Step 4. Cut off the lifelines. Her gym membership canceled. Insurance reassigned. Health benefits severed. Subscriptions terminated. Phone plan gone. Everything I had provided, she now had to rebuild from scratch. No more comfort, no more safety net. And the cherry on top, I notified her employer. The place where she always projected an image of a happily married woman to maintain her professional standing. No rant, no accusations, just a simple email. You may want to review your company's code of conduct, especially regarding relationships with clients. Turns out, her evening out was with a high-paying client she wasn't supposed to be involved with. By Monday, she was under review. Step 5. The unexpected confrontation. 2 weeks later, she found me at our usual coffee shop. I saw her first, hair pulled back, no makeup, a desperate attempt at humility. She walked up to my table, her eyes red-rimmed. Can we talk? I took a slow sip of my coffee, the bitterness mirroring the taste in my mouth. Talk about what? I didn't think you'd go this far. No. I corrected her, my voice calm. You thought I'd break, cry, maybe even beg. You were counting on me being weak. Her voice cracked. I messed up. No, Jenna, I said, meeting her gaze. You disrespected me. You lied to me. You didn't mess up. You chose. She paused, her hands trembling slightly. Can we fix this? I stood up slowly, the scrape of my chair against the floor echoing in the quiet cafe. I grabbed my coat. Number 1, I said, my voice low, you'll be fine. Eventually. But you'll never forget what it felt like to lose everything in one night. Then I walked out, not with a surge of anger, but with a quiet sense of closure. The other guy pays too. They always think they're immune, the affair partners, the heroes who swoop in, thinking there's some irresistible prize, a fantasy that justifies betrayal. They believe they're untouchable until they're not. And for this man, he had no idea just how badly he'd miscalculated. Step 6. Finding his weak point. It didn't take much digging. 2 days after the public fallout, I learned he worked in high-end real estate. Image-conscious clients, a spotless reputation, social media carefully curated, a website brimming with phrases like trust, discretion, professionalism. The irony was sickening. A quiet call to a former client of his, a friend of mine. A fake appointment scheduled. He walked through $1 million property, signed a listing agreement under a fictitious company name. Then, the screenshots. Hotel room photos, date receipts, flirty texts from his work phone, sent directly to the property owners and the firm he represented. The fallout was immediate. Indefinite leave within 24 hours. His client pulled the listing, citing ethical concerns. Others followed as the screenshots quietly circulated in the local real estate Facebook group. No public destruction was needed. Just the quiet removal of the illusion he'd built his career on. Step 7. Socialize out. It didn't stop with his job. I sent his wife. Yes, his wife. A full package. Anonymous email, Dropbox link, timeline, receipts. 2 days later, she moved out with their kids, blocked him everywhere. And just like that, his exciting double life evaporated into an empty apartment, a cold inbox, and court filings marked irreconcilable differences. I didn't have to lift a finger. His own choices had torn it all down. One last message, a DM on a burner account later that week. It was him. You happy now? You destroyed everything. I didn't respond. Because when someone hands you the match and begs you to burn them, you don't apologize for striking the flame. Closure isn't kind. It's cold. Weeks passed. The dust settled, but not for them. For me, it was a profound silence, a welcome peace. No more lies whispered in the dark. No more pretending over strained dinners. No more looking into the eyes of someone who had chosen someone else. I was done grieving. Now, I was moving forward. But there was one final act. Step 8. The final goodbye. I sent Jenna the divorce papers via courier. Neat, clean, no messy courtroom drama. Inside the envelope, a typed note. You wanted freedom. Here it is. I wanted respect, but you sold that for a few nights of attention. Whatever image you thought you were protecting is already shattered. You'll have to live with what you've become. I already have. I heard she cried when she read it. Not because she lost me, I suspect, but because the mask she'd worn for so long had finally cracked, and everyone could see the truth. Her ending, not mine. She moved in with a friend, her reputation in tatters, her social circle gone quiet. The affair partner filed for bankruptcy 3 months later, still dealing with legal issues from the business fallout, his family wanting nothing to do with him. And me? I traveled, rebuilt, met people who spoke with honesty and wore loyalty without pretense. For the first time in years, I slept peacefully. What they never saw coming was that I wouldn't fight or beg. They thought they'd win. But revenge isn't loud or messy. It's cold, calculated, and final.